Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it. Hamas' stated purpose for existing is the destruction of the state of Israel and the murder of Jewish people.
They murdered and raped civilians, they executed the elderly at bus stops, and they massacred young people at a festival. They may, it emerged last night, have even beheaded babies.
They found decapitated babies and toddlers.
Israel kills enough of these sons of bitches that this is not a problem against us. Whenever anyone suggests that Israel is willfully killing civilians, that is the most ignorant, bigoted, anti-Semitic bull ever said. There cannot be a ceasefire. Anyone who calls for a ceasefire is a terrorist sympathizer under these circumstances.
I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children. I never thought I'd ever... Anyway,
Do you care about the babies that were beheaded?
No, they were never beheaded. That was a made-up story.
How do you
Not true. It's show me the pictures now.
So what about
Show
19?
me the pictures. You're a lying full of You're full of
They bombed hospitals, schools, United Nations facilities, Red Crescent facilities, mosques, churches, civilian homes, evacuee convoys. They're literally bombing everything but Hamas inside of Gaza. And that's because their real effort is to force the Palestinian people out of Gaza and take over that land once and for all. Zelensky is using the Nazi Azov thugs in Ukraine to silence freedom-loving Ukrainians. Joe Biden in the United States, his cronies are prepping the CIA, the FBI, Antifa, the IRS, and now Ministry of Truth to attack freedom-loving Americans.
Demand not one more bullet, not one more tank, not one more piece of artillery, not one more dollar, not one more penny be sent to the Nazis in Ukraine. Demand peace. Thank you all for being here. Continue this energy.
How we doing, everybody? How we doing? Thank you so much for tuning back into the dive. It's great to be back with all of you here yet again. How we doing? How we doing? Okay, how do we like the new intro? I think it's so based. I love it. There's a few of you who at the start were like, Battle Hymn of the Republic? I don't know, Jackson. I don't know. Why'd you change the intro? And then you let it play out, and it was beautiful, right? It was beautiful once you let it fully play out. It was so much better. So, yeah, I love the new intro. I love the new intro. Well, anyways, how we doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. We got a great stream ahead of us tonight. We're going to be debunking the Hamas hospital. right? We're going to be debunking the Hamas hospital. All right, we have some debate in the chat. Some people are saying sucks, change it back. Some people are saying love the new one. You guys are a tough crowd. Give it some time. Give it some time. Anyways, we got a ton of stuff to debunk tonight, so thank you all for tuning in, for being here. Thank you for your support. As always, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so, and maybe if you support, we'll be better at getting on time to the show. Can we do a poll? I don't know if we can do a poll on the Rumble stream. Love the new one, fitting for the new time we are in. That's basically how I feel about it. I love the new one. I love the new one. You got the... I put in the clips of the Hamas, the grenades, and the... Oh, it's so good. Okay, so we are going to be discussing the Hamas hospital controversy, which is just like... It's like a scene out of a Borat movie, to be honest with all of you. It's really crazy, but... If you want to support the show, you can do so. For those of you watching on Rumble and on X, we got about 2,000-3,000 people watching already. So good to see all of you here tonight. Thank you for tuning in. If you're on X, of course, you can support the show by clicking my link on my bio, which is my subscribe link. It's right there. You can subscribe for $3 a month. It greatly supports the show. If you're watching on Rumble, you can also support the show by clicking the join button at the bottom of our screen, which is going to take you to my locals, where you can support the show for any amount of your choosing, and you get access to all my premium content. Right now, we just got premium interviews with Max Blumenthal and Scott Ritter, but I've got one coming up that you're not going to want to miss. It's a premium, exclusive, members-only conversation that I'm going to be having with the one, the only, the Russian philosopher, thought leader, Alexander Dugin. You're not going to want to miss that. So be sure to subscribe right now. It supports the show, and you get access to that great content, okay? So anyways, we do have a lot to talk about. We also have Aaron Mate confronting a Zionist senator on the train, on an Amtrak train today. Max Blumenthal confronting the White House spokesperson about the Zionist war crimes. We're going to react to some Shapiro. We got a lot going on. If you guys didn't see, I did my conversation. It was like an hour-long, 45-minute-long conversation with Alex Jones this week. That was really exciting. Very exciting. Coming up on the 16th, I'm going to be doing a debate panel on the Patrick Bet David podcast. I'm going to be sitting down with Norman Finkelstein. I need to learn how to pronounce his name. That guy's so base. Truly an honor to sit with a legend like that, dude. So I'm going to be sitting down with him, and we're going to be debating two Zionists, one of which is a nobody, but one of which is a somebody. It's that Rabbi Shmuley Butler guy, whatever his name, Botich, whatever his name is. So we're going to be debating those two. RFK Jr.'s best friend. So we're going to be debating those two individuals. What else? We've got that. And I recorded something today for Russia 1, Russia 1. So if you're a Russian, you'll probably see that tomorrow or the next day. What else? I feel like we have some other stuff I'm missing. Am I missing other stuff? We've got that. I don't know. There's probably other stuff that I'm not thinking of right now that we got on the agenda. But for now, the big thing on my agenda is the Patrick Bet David podcast. Okay, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I like that show. I like that guy. And it's going to be fun to sit down with all those dudes. So anyways, this is like, it's just every time Israel puts out a tweet, they just get ratioed by me or someone else. Ben Shapiro, same thing. Ben Shapiro has literally stopped tweeting. Can you believe that? Like, you have all these leftists who try, like Hassan Piker, right? All these leftists tried to take down Ben Shapiro for years and years and years, like throughout the entire Trump presidency and preceding that in the lead up to it. They're like, Ben Shapiro is a racist. We must attack him and bring him down. And all it took was an army of like a few thousand Stalinists to bring him down. Or I got 2 million, but you know what I mean. Ben Shapiro's literally stopped tweeting. He only retweets. And when he tweets out something like original content now, it gets less than 1,000 likes and our ratios get like 50,000, 80,000 likes. It's really quite something. It's quite the sight to see. But it's because their propaganda is just so, it's so transparent. It's so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so, it's like projection. It's all just projection. And that was the same thing with the Ukraine propaganda, but not as many people woke up to that as quickly as they should have, especially on the left in America. But with this subject, I think so many conservatives have really understood that, okay, we were lied to about Russiagate, we were lied to about COVID, we were lied to about Ukraine. They're probably lying about the whole Israel-Gaza thing too, right? And then the leftists already support Palestine because leftists just support losers. They see everything within the context of David and Goliath. They're like, well, clearly Ukraine is the good party here because they're the little one, they're the little country, and Russia's bad because they're bigger and they have a bigger military, right? And they're winning. So that's why they support. That's why. One second. There is one other thing I was forgetting. I just got an email about it, but I can't announce it yet, but it's actually pretty cool. I'm going to be going to Mexico soon. I guess that's my news. I'm going to be going to Mexico soon. You guys will see the news very soon. But it's also just such a great time of the year. We got Thanksgiving, which is such a great American holiday. It's like probably, I just love Thanksgiving. I love Christmas, and I love the vibe of Christmas and all that stuff and whatnot. But Thanksgiving, for American holidays, it is the sole American holiday. It's the best holiday. I love Thanksgiving. That's also what we got going on, because I'm going to be going to my folks' home, and we're going to be doing some traveling. For those of you that know Haz Al-Din of the Infrared broadcast, I'm going to be going to see him in Michigan. We're going to be doing some content in Michigan, and there's all this cool Christmas stuff in Michigan. There's this Germantown that has the oldest. There's a Germantown with the largest Christmas store in all of America. So Haz and I are going to be, we're going to be doing some stuff around Christmas. Then on New Year's, I'm going to New York. So there's a lot going on. There really is. But anyways, what was I talking about with the, we're all over the place today. Let's get it together. The propaganda. The leftists just support the losers. That's all they do. That's all they do. And Andrew Tate brought up that point the other day. He's like, yeah, leftists, these queer tranny leftists, they are correct on Palestine, but not for the reasons that were correct. I'll say it. If Hassan Piker wants to support Palestine, and he does, his Turkish ass is supporting Palestine. You can't even really call him Turkish, because we all know what would happen to Hassan if he went back to Turkey. They'd throw him in prison immediately. But if Hassan Piker wants to support Palestine, I'm all for it. I'm not going to attack him or anything I'm not going to attack the transgender for Palestine, because we all know how they would fare in Gaza. If they were in Gaza, we all know what would happen to them. It's just unfortunate that I guess it's unfortunate that they support it for the wrong reasons, right? They support Gaza for the same reason they supported Ukraine. It's because they saw Gaza and Ukraine as the small entity fighting the large behemoth, right? So anyways, it's really interesting. But anyways, we got to get into this stuff. So the propaganda has now reached a fever pitch, all right? And this story about the hospital is hilarious. It actually is hilarious. So let's just start off here. Israel has been going on with this invasion into Gaza for 3 weeks now, okay? They're lying, first of all, about all of their casualty numbers. The KIA and the casualty numbers, the lost, IFVs, AFVs, tanks, so on and so forth. They're lying about all those numbers, 100%. Now, I'm not saying that I 100% believe all the claims coming out from Hamas, claiming that they knocked out 80-something tanks or armored vehicles in the past, in the past day, but also or in the past 5 days. Maybe I do believe that. maybe I do believe that, because I've seen a whole lot of footage of these tanks and armored vehicles and these infantry fighting vehicles being taken out left and right by homemade Hamas RPGs. But I don't really see a lot of videos of, you know, Israel taking out Hamas positions. I see Israel. These are like the Israeli Defense Forces highlights. They're like, you know, they're trying to copy Hamas with those little red triangles that they do. But basically what I see from Israel is I see them posting these highlight clips, and they're like firing into empty buildings in Gaza. We got another empty building, sir. Great job. Great job. Sir, we have new footage. We just blew up another empty hospital. Great jobs. Great job, son. Wave that LGBT flag on Gaza's soil. It's really incredible what they're doing. But, you know, I don't see them actually taking out. I mean, I've seen like a few videos of them taking out Hamas, but nowhere near the level I've seen of like Israeli medvacs transporting dead and injured Israelis back to Israel, to Tel Aviv, to be, you know, to have surgeries done and whatnot. Nowhere near as many. I can't even keep up with all the Hamas videos of them taking out tank after tank after tank after IFV, AF. You know, it's like, it's just nonstop. And clearly these guys in the Israeli military, you know, they're fighting like a Viet Cong guerrilla warfare style military. So I wouldn't want to be in their position, but also they've learned nothing from Ukraine. 2 years of Ukraine where we've seen nothing but nonstop drone warfare, and you still see photos and videos of like 5 Israeli tanks sitting ducks, all sitting together in the middle of like a densely populated civilian zone, right? With buildings all around, drones flying through. Sitting ducks, you have like 15 IDF soldiers just hanging out in the middle of a, you know, unpopulated desert barren area. Drone flies over, boom, drops the grenade. They're all gone, you know, so they've learned nothing. We're supposed to believe this is like the most technologically, militarily advanced military in the world. I was on all these Twitter spaces before the invasion began, and I said, hey, look, you guys. First of all, Israel's military, I know some of these kids. You know, I used to live in LA, and I met a lot of these kids. You know, it's like the super jacked Sigma Chi TikToker that is, you know, he's like jerking off to OnlyFans girls. And he's like, yeah, I just got back from what do they call it? They call it their I just got back from Birthright, and yeah, you know, they conscripted me into the IDF, and I did some guard shifts, and yeah, you know, I guess it's kind of scary. If there's ever a war, I have to get called up, but probably not going to happen. Well, it happened. It happened. And there's also, I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of these, you know, like fanatical, very far right fanatical Likud ideologues that are also within the IDF, and they're very well equipped. I'm not going to lie, but when you call up 400,000 reservists, it was just quite clear to me, like, the types of people that were going to be called up. And it was quite clear to me that when you have those people being called up with little to no military training, like we saw with the Ukrainian military, and they're going up against a Viet Cong guerrilla warfare style military in the middle of Gaza, right, which has been well booby-trapped, well prepared for years on end, it's not going to go well. And now we're seeing that it's really not going well. And you could make the argument, well, you know, they're making their way, and, you know, they are lying about how far they've gotten, by the way. I saw a video today claiming that they captured the Hamas, the Gazan parliamentary building, but they're actually still like pretty far away from, I don't know how many kilometers away they are, but they're pretty far away. I saw a map, satellite image map. They're pretty far away from it. So, you know, I guess I just got to pray for everyone involved. I've got to pray for the Gazans. I hope they get their liberation. And I also got to pray for the TikTok warriors, because they're, you know, there's no amount of Israeli gay pride flag waving that can save them now. That's what I got to say. So anyways, let's get into the meat and potatoes of our stream tonight and discuss what is going on. All right. Because So Israel has been launching this invasion for like 3 weeks now. And so far, all we've heard is that every single day, literally all we hear is that Hamas is operating under hospitals. Hamas is operating under schools. That's why we're blowing them up. Well, okay. Let's just take that at face value. Let's just say yes, they're firing. They're operating from underground hospitals and schools. Okay. So everyone knows that the tunnels that Hamas has built are literally 15 meters below where the most ludicrous of all Israeli bombs, excluding nukes, could possibly reach. They're 15 meters below even that. So I guess if your argument is that Hamas is operating in underground tunnels from schools and hospitals, you know that they're far too deep under those hospitals and schools to actually penetrate down, let alone you have to strike like a 6-story building and then somehow get all the way down, another 30 meters into the, it's just impossible. Why? So they put this bullshit argument up. Oh, they're operating under the schools and the hospital. Okay, we all know that's a lie. But even at face value, it's even more bullshit. So this is the evidence, if you will, that Israel has put forward, claiming that Hamas is in fact operating out of hospitals and schools. And so here's Benjamin Netanyahu. Hamas ISIS is sick. They turn hospitals into headquarters for their terror. We just released intelligence proving it. Here it is. And what is it? I'm waiting for the video. This is all CGI animation. It's literally just CGI, computer graphic, animated BS. Oh, here's the real satellite photo here. Okay, so the satellite photo, is it going to show us anything? Here's the Al-Shifa hospital. No. Okay, it shows us some satellite imagery. Okay, just put a red box around where we think Hamas is, okay? Put a red box around it. No, that doesn't show us anything. I said, baby, this is not intelligence. This is a CGI video that was crafted in Tel Aviv. And that's why we ratioed him. 61,000 likes on that ratio. Chef's kiss. Okay. What else do we have? We have more IDF propaganda. So they put this one out again. Again, no, this is this is a satellite image this time with red boxes over some bullshit alleged Hamas compounds, okay? So, I don't know. I just think this stuff is so funny. It's like, here's our evidence. No, that's not evidence. You guys even deleted this tweet. They deleted this tweet. So Israeli Defense Forces posted this. We know that ambulances are used to transport patients in need of emergency medical care in hospitals or institutions where patients go to receive medical treatment, right? For Hamas, ambulances are used to transport its operatives and weapons to disguise them as civilians. And hospitals are, in fact, terrorist infrastructure, not the most medical purpose. This is against international law and turns them into legitimate military targets. So they deleted this post because they called hospitals and ambulances legitimate military targets. Now, I don't know, maybe someone smarter than me. I tried to ask this question to someone who's a Zionist. I was on Mario Nawfal's space and I tried to ask this question. I was like, so what's the red line? Because I know there has to be a red line somewhere. But what's the red line? Because if you have one Hamas commander in a sea of 5,000 civilians, I've played enough Call of Duty to understand that if you try to strike that one Hamas commander, that one Al-Qaeda commander in a sea of like 5,000 civilians from some sort of like an Apache attack helicopter or something, if you do that and you kill the civilians, Call of Duty is going to restart the level. And they're going to be like, you just took out, civilians. You had to wait until the commander of Hamas gets to an exclusive zone by himself. I've played enough rounds of this game. I know how it works, right? But unfortunately, Call of Duty does not, or I guess Call of Duty does abide by international law. The Israeli military, the U.S. military do not. So I guess my question is, where's that red line? If you have 50 Hamas commanders in a sea of 1,000 people, can you blow it up then? If you have one Hamas commander in a sea of 1,000 people, can you blow it up? Where's that red line? Because clearly just having like one you think, you know, you can't even be 100% sure about these things, but if you think you have like one Hamas commander in a sea of 1,000 people, that doesn't mean you can just blow it up. There has to be some red line there, right? But the red line, none of this matters to the Israeli military. They just blow it all up regardless. And I get war is gruesome, stuff happens, right? But I mean, they're just targeting civilians with wanton disregard. You know, it's like they just target civilians left and right. They've killed over 11,400 civilians, 4,500 of which are kids, children under the age of 18. They're not trying to abide by international law, okay? Now, they are trying to justify their war crimes, though. So their newest justification of their war crimes is a video from an Israeli Defense Force spokesperson of some sort who allegedly went to the, what hospital is this? He allegedly went to the, what hospital is this? I forget what hospital this is. Anyways, he went to some hospital and he claimed that, you know, this is proof that they have tunnels underneath. Because my whole thing has been, okay, you've been invading Gaza for 3 weeks and you still don't have any video proof of these tunnels under hospitals, under any of this stuff. So let's just break it down, okay? So Israel posted this today. Suicide vests, RPGs, motorcycles used to kidnap Israelis to Gaza, diapers, chairs with rope to hold hostages, all in the basement of the Rentisi hospital in Gaza. The hospital was used by Hamas as a command center, and it is believed to have held Israeli hostages. Okay, so let's break this down point by point. And I must remind you all, this is not a scene from a Borat subsequent movie film, even though you might think it is, based upon the, hilarity of this all. But it actually is a real video from the IDF that Israel posted on Twitter. So let's take a look.
I'm here in Gaza City. We are here next to a house of a terrorist. This is one of the senior terrorists who is the head of the operational naval operations that led the raids into Israel. His house is...
So I started watching this and I immediately started laughing, not because he sounds like Borat, although a little bit because he sounds like Borat. We are here, and this is a terrorist. This is terrorist home. Behind me of Naval Operation October 7th, terrorist home. So I immediately question, okay, so this is the terrorist home. This is the terrorist home, right? So you're telling me that Israel is bombing hospitals, schools, UN facilities, journalists, mosques, churches, aid centers, refugee camps, but they preserve the home of the Hamas terrorists? So they just walk up and they don't touch the home of the Hamas terrorists? Okay. So that immediately caught my attention. I'm like, so they bombed everything but the home of the Hamas terrorists. Okay. Now listen to this one more time.
I'm here in Gaza City. We are here next to a house of a terrorist. This is one of the senior terrorists who is the head of the operational naval operations that led the raids into Israel.
What? So they left his home, but also, folks, this isn't just any Hamas commander's home. This is the home of the commander of Hamas's non-existent naval operation on October 7th. Yeah. The naval operation. Now, I know that, like, in the days following October 7th, there was, like, one video of two alleged Hamas fighters on jet skis fighting against Israeli boats or something. But what? They came in on paragliders, and this moron is trying to sell you that this is the home of some non-existent Hamas naval commander. Hamas. Okay, you may as well have just told everyone that this is the Hamas Air Force commander's home. Hamas doesn't have an Air Force. And maybe they have a few jet skis, but to the best of my knowledge, they don't have a Navy either. So how are you going to tell us, listen to this, how are you going to tell us that this is the home that you didn't want to blow up? The one thing you didn't blow up in Gaza was the home of the Hamas naval commander?
Of the operational naval operations that led the raids into Israel. His house is right next to a school.
Okay, so his house is right next to a school. Now, I don't know. This very well could be a school. He's pointing in the direction of this building right here. Okay? That doesn't look like a school to me. It could be a school, but if you look over here, that kind of looks like balconies, like apartment. I mean, it could be a school. It very well could be a school, but it doesn't really look like a school. And also, if this is really his home, I mean, if this is really the Hamas non-existent naval commander's home, don't you think they would have blown it up?
His house is 200 yards from the hospital.
Okay, now so like we're 22 seconds in, and I can't even get through all the propaganda. So they take the footage right here, next to the Hamas non-existent naval commander's home. All right. Then they say this is a school. So they're doing this all for propaganda effect. They're saying, oh, we found the tunnels and it's right next to a school and a hospital and a school. Well, then, he kind of just casually goes, and the terrorist tunnel is 200 yards away. That's 2 NFL-sized football stadiums away from where he's standing. Okay, that's 2 NFL football fields away from where he's standing. So they're acting like, oh, they put the tunnels under the schools too. No. They put the Hamas command center under the school. No. You just said it's 200 yards. Okay, 200 yards away. 2 full-length football fields away. Allegedly. Let's continue watching.
Hospital of Rantisi. Next to his house, there is a tunnel.
So now we get a jump cut. So, this is the other thing. There's no single video stream. You'd think if they're trying to prove something, if they're trying to show definitive evidence that something exists next to something else, like a school or a hospital, there'd be one, if they can film 1917 all with one camera without jump cuts everywhere, you'd think they could film, a war zone that they've cleared out allegedly without jump cuts everywhere, but they have the jump cuts everywhere. Okay. So that's the other major red flag here. Is this video is just nothing but jump cuts. So now we don't know where we are. Now we have no idea where we are. He said that the tunnel was 200 yards away from the school and from the commander's home. I guess we're going to have to take him at face value. So now, allegedly, we're 200 yards away at the tunnel? Let's keep watching. So now we're getting random drone footage, I think.
Now I want to show you.
So now he wants to show you, and we don't even know where we are. We don't even know where we are now. We're at some random fucking building. We don't know where we are.
An operational tunnel.
So now he's going to claim this is an operational tunnel of Hamas.
The tunnel is built with electricity.
The tunnel is built with electricity. Well, I guess that doesn't make sense. The tunnel's built with electricity. I don't know what he means by that. Yes, I'd imagine, they don't have they don't have little yellow men in there digging out the tunnels themselves. They probably built it with some sort of electricity. But he's showing you this electrical board, okay? Now, this is very interesting.
We first saw the solar panels, then the electricity goes here, and it goes down directly to the tunnel.
So actually, we didn't see the solar panels because they cut that out. Okay, keep in mind, this isn't some random Twitter user that reposted this. This is literally the Israel IDF. These are all they all posted this. The Israeli Foreign Ministry, they all posted this video with no other context. So now they're showing you electrical currents going down into the alleged Hamas operational tunnel.
Now you can see the tunnel. You can see the tunnel. The tunnel.
Now you can see the tunnel, the Tower East. Only problem, well, we'll get to this.
Tunnel is let down more than 20 meters down. The rowboat found a door that is bulletproof. It's explosives proof, so it looks like a hard evidence, a clear evidence that the hospital direction is connected. This is a.
So he said it looks like clear evidence, hard evidence, that a bulletproof door that was found connects to the hospital. So they're not even telling you right now that this tunnel connects to the hospital, okay? They're just saying they found a bulletproof, explosive-proof door, which I really don't know how one can surmise that a door is bulletproof and explosives-proof with a tiny black and white low-quality drone that went down there. But allegedly, that's what it was. An explosive-proof, bulletproof door that was down at the bottom of this tunnel, okay? And he said, we think it connects to the hospital. Here's problem number one. First of all, he's not saying it connects to the hospital. Problem number two is this isn't even a tunnel. This is an elevator shaft, not a tunnel. The electrical box, as you can see here, contains a 3-phase inverter for elevator motors, which is this right here. In the elevator shaft, there are rails, which you can see here, and a flat cable, okay? The flat cable's here. So there's rails and a flat cable, or the flat cable's here, the rails are here. The cabin of the elevator slides on the metal rails right here, and the flat cable connects the cabin to the electrical box. So they told you that this was a Hamas tunnel that connects to a bulletproof, explosive-proof door that may or may not connect to a hospital. But shockingly, it's not even a tunnel. It's literally just an elevator shaft, which you can clearly see here. And multiple elevator engineers and technicians I've seen comment under the video who literally said, I've installed these myself, all say, yes, this is an elevator. It is clearly indicative that this is an elevator, most importantly because of the 3-phase inverter and the elevator shaft and the cable, which you can see here, okay? So this is just a massive lie from the start. I mean, this is just lie after lie after lie. Keep in mind, this is like their golden goose egg, bona fide proof that Hamas has tunnels under the hospital. So far, we've seen the Hamas non-existent naval commander's home, allegedly a school that doesn't really look like a school. They said 200 yards away is where the tunnel is, near the hospital. But they jump cut, so we don't even know where it is. And then we're seeing that the tunnel is literally just an elevator. But there's more, so let's keep going here.
Looks like a hard evidence, a clear evidence that the hospital direction is connected. This is a cover tunnel. It's part of the same floor and it slides down here. So it's a cover tunnel so nobody can find it.
So I don't even know what that is. I don't know where we are now. I don't know what this is, but you know, I have no idea where we are now, okay?
Nobody can find it. This is Rantisi Hospital.
He said it's a covert channel so no one can find it, but you guys found it.
Down here. So it's a cover tunnel so nobody can find it.
My thought is if this is something that led to some sort of a Hamas tunnel, they would have gone down and shown it to you.
This is Rantisi Hospital. And this is the place where I showed you the tunnel. I want you to see.
So he said that's the hospital and this is where the tunnel is. It looks like maybe, 75 yards away, first of all.
This is the back side of the hospital.
But he didn't even show where the tunnel was. He just pointed to a big slob of cement and and, you know, destruction. And he said, and this is where the tunnel is. No, you didn't show anything.
Hamas used this hospital. Tonight we have entered into this building. I will show you the evidence. Let's enter into the...
So now he's saying Hamas used the hospital. He didn't show us that the tunnel was connected to the hospital, but he says Hamas used the hospital. Okay, so I buy nothing that this guy has said so far. He's lying, and he's lying to justify a genocide and the endless bombing, indiscriminate bombing of hospitals, schools, so on and so forth, civilian homes. But let's keep watching.
The hospital. We're now entering into the area of...
Another jump cut. So so this allegedly is the inside of the Rantisi hospital.
The hospital.
And somewhere or another, in the less than 2 minutes of this video, my boy got a gaping wound on his forehead. You see that? I don't know how, but somewhere in between him going into the hospital, he got a gaping wound on his forehead. He should have blamed it on Hamas. It would have been more effective propaganda.
Where we had found the evidence. This operation was conducted by Israeli Special Unit, the Israeli Navy SEALs. This is still an operation that is conducting. And I'm showing you the first evidence to see. We are now in the area of the basement of the hospital. I want to show you a room where we found all the...
Okay, so we're in the basement of the hospital now. All I see are like children's drawings on the walls and medical, you know, diagrams and stuff. Like I don't see anything yet.
Gear, the operational gear of Hamas. Hamas is using hospitals, like we showed the evidence in Shifa Hospital. In other hospital, we are now seeing it in live in Rantisi Hospital. An operation still conducted.
The Shifa hospital was not any evidence. It was the CGI video, by the way.
Right now, look at what Hamas is holding inside the hospital.
So now they found a completely empty room. This is a completely empty room, allegedly inside of the hospital, with no tables, no chairs, no nothing. And they just put a bunch of random grenades, rifles, and bulletproof vests. They put all this random stuff on the ground.
I want you to understand, this kind of gear is a gear for a major fight.
Is it? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guns, a few grenades, maybe like 10 grenades, maybe 2, 3 bulletproof vests, a couple mags over here, and fuel. I don't know if that's fuel or what that is, but okay, that doesn't look like a major fight to me, but we'll continue watching. This looks like it was completely 100%, 1000% staged, but let's keep watching.
These are explosives. These are vests with explosives. Yeah, it's a body vest for terrorists to explode on forces. Among hospitals, among patients, we have hand grenades, Kalashnikovs, and then we have the RPGs. People shooting RPGs from hospitals.
I see the end of an RPG. I don't see a full RPG. Also, keep in mind, just because there's guns in a hospital, like by international law, if you want to go by international law, that doesn't mean you can blow up a hospital. Even if these guns were actually, you know, from within the hospital, that doesn't mean you can blow up a hospital.
This is Hamas firing RPGs for hospitals. The world has to understand who is Israel fighting against. We are now in the basement.
So they said that they're firing from the hospital. There's no proof of that. There's no signs of, you know, firefighting from within the hospital, or else they would have shown you. They probably just scrapped up these random, you know, grenades and rifles and, you know, RPGs and whatnot from wherever they found them on the front and then brought them in here. There's literally no signs whatsoever of any firefighting from within the hospital. I see children's drawings on the wall, but I don't see any signs of guns or, I mean, firefighting or anything like that. So let's just keep in mind, if you look at Israel today, there's countless videos and photos of, young women going to grocery stores in Tel Aviv and around Jerusalem strapped with full rifles, okay? Now, Israelis say, well, of course they're strapped with rifles. October 7th, Hamas came in and brutally, raped and assaulted and killed all these Israelis. So, of course, people are going to be walking around strapped up. Well, if you take that argument and you say, Gaza is under constant bombardment and now facing an invasion, and maybe some of the people in this hospital wanted to protect themselves in case, the invasion reached them before they could leave the hospital. The Israeli argument falls short. Okay, so are Gazans not allowed to defend themselves in the middle of an active invasion when the Israeli military is taking out civilians left and right? Are they not allowed to defend themselves? So even if, which I doubt, but even if, this was on the premises of the hospital when it was fully operational, I don't have a problem with it, and it does not violate international law.
RPGs for hospitals. The world has to understand who is Israel fighting against. We are now in the basement, and in this basement we found a motorcycle. They were all used in the massacre of the 7th of October.
So now he's saying we found one motorcycle. These were used in the 7th of October invasion. Okay. So my thought here is, well, if this is truly a Hamas hideout, don't you think you'd find more than one motorcycle? Like, they came in on a lot of motorcycles and a lot of paragliders. So don't you think you'd find more than just one motorcycle? Also, keep in mind, take a look at how covered everything in this building is in dust.
They even have bullets in this motorcycle.
They even have a bullet in this motorcycle. Okay, so they claim there's a bullet in the fuel canister of the motorcycle, which, yeah, that does look like a bullet. I guess my question is, if there was truly a bullet in the fuel canister of a motorcycle, I mean, what are the odds that the motorcycle just explodes if you hit the fuel canister? Like, fully, operational, the motorcycle is on, the gas canister is full. Like, isn't there like a sincere possibility that the thing would have exploded? Also, don't you think it would have made sense that maybe they would have just ditched this motorcycle had it actually been hit in Israel and like hopped on the back of someone else's and gone back to Gaza? Like, I have a lot of questions here. Also, how dusted this thing looks like it's been sitting there for months.
Came back from the massacre on the 7th of October into Rantisi Hospital with hostages on a motorcycle. We're still researching this. Yards from here.
He said, we're still investigating this, so I don't even know what that is. It looks like a shoelace, a little piece of red plastic attached to some black plastic. That looks like a toothpaste canister almost. And then a white block. We are still investigating this. Well, okay.
Yards from here, we find the chair, a woman, clothes, and a rope. A rope next to the legs.
Okay, now he's saying they have a zip tie or a rope next to the legs. Okay, well, isn't that the same thing you guys just saw over here? So you had this over here, and now you're saying that it's like some sort of a rope to tie the legs of someone? I mean, I don't see any foot marks of anyone that was sitting here. All I see are IDF soldiers' boots that were all walking around, but okay.
And look above this. Look above it. It's a baby bottle. It's a baby bottle in a basement. Above a World Health Organization sign.
To me, this just either looks like, they said this is a basement. So this is probably either somewhere that people were hiding out amidst bombing, or it was used for hospital purposes, or they actually just, placed this shit all here, which is probably the most likely scenario.
This is a suspicion for an area where hostages were being held. We're now looking at an infrastructure. You don't need to build something improvisingly in a hospital in the basement. Unless you want to hold someone in the basement, you don't want anyone to see him. Again, we're in the same basement. This is a suspicion for an area where hostages were being held. We're now looking.
They have literally zero proof that hostages were held here.
Looking at an infrastructure, you don't need to build something improvisedly in a hospital in the basement, unless you want to hold.
So he's saying because they improvise the construction of a toilet here, that is indicative of hostages. No, that's indicative. Again, this actually leads me to believe that they were keeping people down there during the bombings as a shelter. Probably they made this makeshift toilet because they didn't want people going up to the first floor to take a 30-minute dump as Israeli hellfire was raining down. I mean, I think it's good to be stress-free when you're taking a shit, right? You're going to avoid the hemorrhoids. You're going to avoid all that. You won't get blown up while you're taking a shit. So clearly, I mean, they didn't want people stressing out and getting blown up to pieces when they are taking a shit. So they improvised a toilet down here. That makes sense to me.
Hold someone in the basement, you don't want anyone to see him. Again, we're in the same basement, and here we see diapers, and we see, I don't know, maybe something. We see diapers.
There's just like random shit on the ground. He's like, and then you see maybe something. I don't know. Maybe you see something over here. Here's a diaper. Yeah, okay, so we see the baby stuff. Again, probably just a hideout during the bombings.
I want you to see this room. It's in the basement of the hospital. We can see this area is a closed area from the rest of the hospital. We can see the ventilation air that was done improvisedly to this area.
Improvisedly, as he says, probably because they had to improvise when they came under massive assault and bombings by Israel, so they had to do these makeshift bomb shelters as quick as possible.
Yeah. And we can see infrastructures that was built in here, toilets, shower, a small kitchen.
They gave the hostages a shower too, very nice.
Will provide the terrorists their needs. Also conduct a hideout where terrorists take hostages and hide out. And I will show you now the evidence.
All right, now this is the best part of all. This is actually the best part of all. This is the worst propaganda I've ever seen, but this is my favorite part of the entire video, okay? I mean, the elevator part was pretty great, but this part, I happen to believe, takes the cake. Okay, so let's watch.
You're now entering into the room where we suspect the hostages were being held. I want you to look at this room. People are putting curtains with nothing above, just wall. No reason to put here a curtain unless you want to film hostages and deliver movies.
Okay, if that was the case, don't you think we would have seen hostage videos with this very background? Like, which we haven't. Maybe it's a little bit of decoration because they had to stay down there for a full fucking month while you guys were bombing all their hospitals.
And now we'll show you more evidence. In this room, there is a list.
There is a list. And on the list is the terrorist name.
This list, in Arabic, this list says we are in an operation. The operation against Israel started in the 7th of October. This is a Guardian list where every terrorist writes his name and every terrorist has his own shift guarding the people that were here.
I love how he's just so content. He's like, and we proved it. The terrorist list with all of their names. And it is right here. And it shows that this is where the terrorists were. Now, let's go back to this. So he claims that this is a terrorist list with all the names of the terrorists. Unfortunately for our good friend at the IDF, this is in fact not a terrorist list. This are the days of the week in Arabic. It's literally just a calendar. So they posted this. They said, you know, all these Zionists, found in the basement of Rantisi Children's Hospital in Gaza, a schedule showing the names of Hamas terrorists who guarded the hostages. Every name on this list is a dead man walking. Well, to my my Arab followers who speak Arabic, you will see that these are literally just the days of the week. Like each one of these little scribbles here, it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, you know, like these aren't the names. Unless the terrorists are named Sunday, Saturday, Friday, and you can't forget about the terrorists Thursday, Hamas Commander Thursday. These are just the days of the week. I love it. I love the propaganda. Points for the creativity, okay? Watch it one more time.
More evidence. In this room, there is a list. This list, in Arabic, this list says we are in an operation. The operation against Israel started in the 7th of October. This is a Guardian list.
This is the list. Here you see the terrorist named Sunday. Sunday beheaded 3 Israeli 4-year-olds, and terrorist Friday, he cut off their feet thereafter. Oh my God, yes. The propaganda literally can't get any better than this. Okay, so the founder of Mint Press News says, this is pretty embarrassing. Look, baby bottles and diapers inside a children's hospital. Israel couldn't find any tunnels or weapons. Yeah, there's literally no tunnels or weapons. This is the basement of a children's hospital. They found no tunnels, no nothing. They said, so they made up a new allegation of hostages were kept in a hospital basement, okay? Israeli propagandist points to a random calendar at the Rantisi hospital as evidence of a hostage keeper's list with the terrorist names. But the only thing on this list is literally the days of the week. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. Okay, what else do we have? The motorcycle had a bullet hole in its tank. Do we think it will be easier to dump the motorcycle, find an alternative? The whole place is super dusty. Surprisingly, the calendar is clean. Yeah, it's all just bogus. Okay, so this guy did a thread on it. Let's see what his thread says. This is so ridiculous. I'm only doing this because IOF with this propaganda is justifying the bombing of hospitals and schools, even the UN run or affiliate. IDF has many embedded journalists with them. They did it themselves instead of allowing the media is the first red flag to begin with. First, IDF's own claim is that it's 200 yards away from the hospital, so it's not inside the hospital, the tunnel. The tunnel is so covert that they put a fuse box with wires going down directly above it, which actually showed it to be an elevator. He gives the impression that this is where the tunnel's located. It's dark inside, but the tunnel's located right below the fuse box, whose video shows that it's quite bright as the sunlight is visible, unlike this place. Then he directly lands in the hospital's basement out of nowhere. The video of a robot on stairs inside the tunnel, but where does that lead to? Good question. Where's the other end of the tunnel? There is no video evidence showing any connection between the tunnel and the hospital. And also he's got that gaping wound on his forehead somehow. Then he enters the room showing light arms, guns, and grenades. The suicide vest means that they should have Fidayin or suicide bombers to blow up the place when caught. That didn't happen. This doesn't prove it's the HQ or command center. Then the most tactical weapon, the motorcycle. They rode with the hostages on motorcycles within minutes using this tunnel to go down to the basement. It doesn't fit in, let alone a person carrying on its shoulders to take it down the tunnel 20 meters down. Yeah, that doesn't make sense either. Then the most ridiculous of claims, they found a baby bottle, women's clothes, and diapers in a children's hospital. OMG, baby bottles and baby diapers in a children's hospital. That's barbaric. Another very significant discovery was a bathroom in the basement, a must thing for a military command and a control center and more so for a military headquarters. Then the list, which we went through the list. Lastly, Hamas decorated its military headquarters with these drawings and posters and trees and stars. Were there any posters of the poem, Baby, Baby, Yes, Mama, Telling Lie? This propaganda to justify bombing hospitals and schools and killing UN health workers is inhumane. Okay, well, extremely embarrassing to say the least. That was probably the worst propaganda we've seen put out since the start of the Israeli invasion. But unfortunately, I can't imagine that it's going to get any better anytime soon because the Zionists are the worst liars on the face of the planet. And you'd think that, you know, maybe they do a better job. Ukraine even did a better job, but they can't. They really can't. It took us like 3 minutes to just debunk all of that propaganda, okay? To read through all of that, debunk it. I mean, the tunnel wasn't even a tunnel. It was a damn elevator. The calendar of terrorist list was actually just the days of the week. Can't make this stuff up. But all I gotta say is I'm very, very happy that our enemies are as dumb as they are, because it makes our job very easy. All right. Let's continue on here. And see what else we got. How we all doing? Shout out all of you tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. We got about, let's see here, about 3,000 of you tuning in. Thank you for watching, everyone on YouTube, everyone on Rumble. Or sorry, not YouTube. We're banned from YouTube. Everyone on Rumble and X. If you'd like to support my work, as always, you can do so. If you're on X, you can do so. And this is really the best way to support my work. By subscribing to my X Premium for $3, you get access to my exclusive content when you do so. All you have to do is go to my profile and click the subscribe button. And if every person watching went and clicked it right now, I'd literally never have to worry about this again. So go subscribe if you'd like to support the show. And if you're watching on locals, you can also support. If you're watching on Rumble, you can also support me by clicking this join button at the bottom of the screen. And that will take you to my locals account where you can support of any amount of your choosing, okay? And on that note, I actually have to go. So I'll be back maybe tomorrow. I know we haven't been streaming a lot, but I'll probably be back tomorrow or something. We got more stuff. We got to react to the Aaron Matt Day clip. Maybe we'll get him on the show to talk about it. That would actually be very interesting. Let me know if you guys want to see me and Aaron talk. But anyways, I'll catch you all next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. That took longer than expected, but it was literally just because there was so much bullshit we had to go through. And now what I need you to do is go on Twitter, spread this message, clip this stream up into TikToks and Reels, and expose the propagandists for who they truly are. Zionist liars that are trying to justify a genocide, okay? Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your night. Peace out. God bless you all. Free Palestine.
Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it. Hamas' stated purpose for existing is the destruction of the state of Israel and the murder of Jewish people.
They murdered and raped civilians, they executed the elderly at bus stops, and they massacred young people at a festival. They may, it emerged last night, have even beheaded babies.
They found decapitated babies and toddlers.
Israel kills enough of these sons of bitches that this is not a problem against us. Whenever anyone suggests that Israel is willfully killing civilians, that is the most ignorant, bigoted, anti-Semitic bull ever said. There cannot be a ceasefire. Anyone who calls for a ceasefire is a terrorist sympathizer under these circumstances.
I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children. I never thought I'd ever... Anyway,
Do you care about the babies that were beheaded? The babies?
They were never beheaded. That was a made-up story.
How do you
Not true. It's show me the pictures now.
So what about
Show
19?
me the pictures. You're a lying full of You're full of
They bombed hospitals, schools, United Nations facilities, Red Crescent facilities, mosques, churches, civilian homes, evacuee convoys. They're literally bombing everything but Hamas inside of Gaza. And that's because their real effort is to force the Palestinian people out of Gaza and take over that land once and for all. Zelensky is using the Nazi Azov thugs in Ukraine to silence freedom-loving Ukrainians. Joe Biden in the United States, his cronies are prepping the CIA, the FBI, Antifa, the IRS, and now Ministry of Truth to attack freedom-loving Americans.
Demand not one more bullet, not one more tank, not one more piece of artillery, not one more dollar, not one more penny be sent to the Nazis in Ukraine. Demand peace. Thank you all for being here. Continue this energy.